So, you've built this amazing, powerful Omnissa Horizon environment. It's complex, it's a beast, but how are you protecting it? Today, we're going to talk about your VDI safety net, that absolutely crucial backup and restore process that makes sure your entire configuration doesn't just poof, disappear when things go sideways. Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with what we're actually protecting. We'll call it your digital blueprint. Then we'll peek inside and see what's in the safe. After that, we'll look at the two paths to protection, figure out how to restore from the ashes, and wrap it all up with the rules for resilience. Just let that sink in for a second. What if you came in tomorrow and all your desktop pools, your user assignments, every single server setting, just gone? It's the ultimate nightmare for any admin, right? Well, that's exactly the problem we're here to solve. How do you make sure you can bounce back fast and get everything back to normal? To really get the solution, you've got to understand the core of your Horizon setup. And it's not what you might think. It's not the virtual machines themselves. It's the configuration data. You have to think of it like the architectural blueprint for your entire VDI city. Without that blueprint, you've just got a big, useless pile of bricks. And this right here, this is the tool that protects that precious blueprint. Omnissa Horizon Backup and Restore is at its heart a really simple process. You securely package up all that configuration data, you stick it somewhere safe, and then you use it to rebuild when you have to. It's your insurance policy. It's what keeps the business running. All right, so when we talk about backing all this up, what are we actually putting in the vault? This is so important. We need to be crystal clear on what this process protects, and maybe even more importantly, what it doesn't. Okay, this is the key takeaway right here. On the left, you've got the blueprint. That's your configuration data, your Atom LDAP database. Think of it as the instruction manual. It knows about all your desktop pools, your policies, who gets what desktop. On the right, you have the buildings themselves, the actual virtual machines, the desktops your users log into every day. So this process, it backs up the instructions, not the finished product. Backing up the VMs, that's a whole other separate job. And if we zoom in on that blueprint, what do we find? Well, it's made up of these three core pieces: the Horizon Local Database, the Global Database, and if you're using it, the Composer Database. These files together define your entire Horizon world, and they are exactly what we're locking away in the safe. All right, so we know what we need to save. Now, how do we actually do it? Well, Horizon gives us two really good ways to get this done, and each one is perfect for a different situation. Here are your two options laid out nice and simple. First up, you've got the automatic backup. You set this up right inside the Horizon console. This is your daily driver, your set it and forget it plan for routine protection. But then you've got the manual export, which uses a little command line tool called VDM export. This is your tactical weapon. You pull this out right before you make a big scary change or do a major upgrade, just to have that extra little safety net. And now for the main event. A server has died, a database got corrupted. Disaster has struck. It's time to cash in on that insurance policy and use the backup you so wisely created. How do we bring the whole environment back from the dead? And you know what? The recovery process is surprisingly straightforward. You're not trying to perform surgery on a broken server. No way. You start totally clean. You install a fresh connection server. Then you import that LDIF file you backed up. That's your digital blueprint. And poof, all your settings are back. Finally, you just reinitialize your other appliances and they'll automatically sync up with the new primary. It's that simple. We're almost done, but just knowing how the tools work is only half the battle. If you really want to build a bulletproof VDI environment, there are a few rules you just have to live by. These aren't suggestions, they're the fundamental laws of Horizon data protection. First, do your backups regularly. I know, it sounds obvious, but it's the number one thing that'll save you. The more often you back up, the less data you can possibly lose. Second, back up everything at the same time. This is critical. You don't want your Composer database telling a different story than your global database. And finally, when you have to restore, always do it on the primary appliance first. That server becomes the one source of truth for the rest of your setup. Okay, let's end on the most important point, and I'm going to say it one more time because it's that crucial. This entire process we just talked about, it's for your configuration data only. It doesn't touch the user VMs themselves. You still need a totally separate, robust backup plan for those, probably using vCenter or some other tool. Remember, this protects the blueprint, you need something else to protect the buildings. So, here's the final question I want to leave you with. You now know how to protect the blueprint for your entire Horizon environment. But take a step back and look at the whole picture. Is your business protected? Because protecting this configuration, that is the absolute first, most critical step to making sure your whole operation stays resilient no matter what happens.